My lawyer stood in my small living room and said the words that changed everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Marilyn Harper is not a struggling widow living on Social Security. She is, in fact, the best-selling author known worldwide as A.M. Gray. My stepdaughter Ava's mouth fell open. Her husband Jake went completely pale. Their lawyer looked like he'd been slapped. And me? I just sat there in my worn armchair, sipping tea, watching 30 years of secrets explode in front of the two people who'd spent years treating me like I was worthless. My name is Marilyn Harper. I'm 65 years old, and I'm about to tell you how I built a multi-million-dollar writing career in complete anonymity, and how my own family never suspected a thing until they tried to steal my house. But let me take you back to where this all started. 28 years ago, I was a young widow. My husband Robert had just died, heart attack at 42, left me with a mortgage, a stepdaughter who barely tolerated me, and no real career to speak of. I'd been a library assistant, part-time. The pay was terrible. Robert had been the breadwinner. Without him, I was drowning financially. Ava was 15, Robert's daughter from his first marriage. She'd never liked me, thought I was trying to replace her mother. When Robert died, she made it clear she wanted nothing to do with me. "You're not my real family," she said at the funeral. "Once I turn 18, I'm gone." And she was. The day she turned 18, she moved out, got married young to Jake, had kids, built a life that didn't include me. But that was fine, because I had something else, something that saved me when everything fell apart. I started writing. At first, it was just therapy, journaling, processing grief. But then I started crafting stories, mystery stories, thrillers, complex plots with unexpected twists. I wrote at night, after my library shifts, in my tiny house, on an old laptop I'd bought at a yard sale. And I submitted my first manuscript to a publisher under a pen name, A.M. Gray. My initials, plus my mother's maiden name. I never thought it would sell, but it did. My first book, The Silent Witness, got a modest advance, $5,000, more money than I'd seen in months. Then it became a bestseller. Suddenly, my publisher wanted more, wanted sequels, wanted A.M. Gray to become a household name. "But we need to know who you are," my editor said, "for publicity, for book tours." "No," I said firmly. "I stay anonymous. That's non-negotiable." They agreed, because the books kept selling. Millions of copies, movie deals, foreign translations. And I kept my secret, lived in my small house, worked at the library for years until I could retire, drove an old car, wore thrift store clothes. To the outside world, to Ava, to my neighbors, to everyone, I was just Marilyn, quiet widow, lived simply, nothing special. But in reality, I was making millions every year, from royalties, from movie rights, from international sales. I had lawyers, accountants, a publishing team, all sworn to secrecy, all protecting my identity. Why the secrecy? Because I'd learned something important. Money changes how people see you, how they treat you. I wanted to be valued for who I was, not what I had. And I wanted to test people, see their true nature, see if they'd be kind to someone they thought had nothing. Ava failed that test, spectacularly. Over the years, she'd maintained minimal contact, obligatory holiday visits, always with her hand out, always asking for money. "Mom, we need help with the mortgage." "Mom, the kids need new school clothes." "Mom, can you loan us $5,000? I always gave her something, small amounts, enough to help, but not enough to make her suspicious. She assumed I was giving her my last pennies, that I was sacrificing to help her, that I was the struggling widow she'd always believed me to be. She never said thank you, never asked how I was managing, just took and left. Then came the inheritance planning. Ava started asking questions about my will, about my house, about what would happen when I was gone. "Mom, you should really think about selling this place. It's too big for you, too expensive to maintain. Why not sell it and move into a senior facility?" I like my house, But it's not practical. And when you're gone, Jake and I will have to deal with selling it anyway. Why not make it easier for everyone? What she meant was, why not give us the money now so we can spend it? Then things escalated. She and Jake started showing up with documents, papers for me to sign. It's just estate planning, Mom, making sure everything is handled properly when the time comes. But I had the documents reviewed by my lawyer, Mr. Lewis. They weren't estate planning. They were transfer documents, designed to give Ava and Jake ownership of my house immediately, while I was still alive. They're trying to steal your home, Mr. Lewis said. You need to be very careful. I decided it was time to end the charade, time to show them exactly who they'd been dismissing all these years. I called Mr. Lewis. Set up a meeting tomorrow at my house. Tell them to bring their lawyer. Tell them we're going to finalize the property transfer. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. The next day, Ava and Jake arrived with their lawyer, a slick young man in an expensive suit who clearly thought this would be easy money. They sat in my living room, looking at my worn furniture, my old carpet, my dated decor, judging me, pitying me, planning how they'd spend my money once they had control. Mrs. Harper, their lawyer began, we're here today to discuss the transfer of your property. Given your age and financial situation, it makes sense to place the house in your daughter's name now, for tax purposes, for estate purposes, for your own protection. My own protection? I asked innocently. Yes, you're elderly. You may not be capable of managing such a significant asset much longer. This way, Ava and Jake can ensure the property is maintained, that you're taken care of. Ava jumped in. We just want to help, Mom. We know money is tight. We know you're struggling. Struggling, I repeated. Yes, I see. Well, before I sign anything, I'd like my lawyer to review the documents. Of course, their lawyer said smoothly, though I assure you, everything is standard. The doorbell rang. That'll be him now. I let Mr. Lewis in. He was carrying a briefcase, looked every inch the high-powered attorney he was. Ava and Jake exchanged glances, confused. How could I afford a lawyer who looked like this? Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis said. I'm Harold Lewis. I represent Mrs. Harper, and I'm afraid there's been a significant misunderstanding here today. Misunderstanding? Jake asked. Yes. You see, Mrs. Harper doesn't need your financial assistance. She doesn't need estate planning, and she certainly doesn't need to transfer her home to anyone. With all due respect, their lawyer said, Mrs. Harper is a widow living on a fixed income. Mrs. Harper, Mr. Lewis interrupted, is one of the wealthiest women in this state, with assets exceeding $12 million. The room went silent. Ava laughed, nervous, disbelieving. That's impossible. Mom lives in this tiny house, drives an old car. By choice, Mr. Lewis said, not necessity. Mrs. Harper could buy a mansion tomorrow if she wanted. She chooses not to, just as she chose not to reveal her true identity, until now. Jake found his voice. What are you talking about? True identity? Mr. Lewis smiled, pulled documents from his briefcase. Perhaps you've heard of the author A.M. Gray. Recognition flashed across their faces. Everyone knew A.M. Gray, best-selling mystery author, huge name, movies based on the books, millions of fans worldwide. What about them? Ava asked. Mr. Lewis looked at me. Mrs. Harper, would you like to tell them, or shall I? I stood up, walked to my bookshelf, pulled out 12 books, all with A.M. Gray's name on the spine. I'm A.M. Gray, I said calmly. I've been A.M. Gray for 28 years, and you never knew, because you never bothered to ask what I did all day. You just assumed I was worthless. The look on their faces was worth every moment of secrecy. Let me tell you how I kept this secret for nearly 3 decades, because it wasn't easy. It took planning, discipline, and a little bit of theatrical performance. When my first book sold, I made immediate decisions about how I'd handle success. First, complete anonymity. My publisher agreed to never reveal my identity. All author photos were silhouettes. All interviews were done via email or phone with voice modulation. Book signings? I didn't do them. But think of the publicity, my editor said. Think of the privacy, I countered. The mystery will sell more books than my face ever could. I was right. The mystique of A.M. Gray, the anonymous best-selling author, became part of the brand. Readers loved speculating. Was I male or female? Old or young? American or foreign? Some thought I was a reclusive millionaire. Others thought I was a pseudonym for a team of writers. A few even thought I was a famous celebrity writing under a pen name. They were half right about the reclusive millionaire part. Second, I maintained my modest lifestyle deliberately, kept my small house, kept my old car, kept shopping at thrift stores. When the money started rolling in, and it rolled in fast after my third book hit #1, I didn't change anything visible. I just invested wisely, built a portfolio, secured my future. My neighbors thought I was barely scraping by. They'd offer me hand-me-downs, invite me to free community dinners, try to help poor Marilyn. I accepted it all graciously, donated anonymously to the same community programs that tried to help me. The irony was beautiful. Third, I created routines that explained my behavior. I told people I was writing a journal, working on my memoirs, just something to keep my mind sharp, I'd say. Every morning, I'd sit at my desk with my laptop, writing, editing, communicating with my publisher. People would see me through my window. There's Marilyn, writing her little stories. If only they knew those little stories were earning me $4 million a year. Fourth, I used a management team that maintained complete confidentiality. Mr. Lewis handled all my legal affairs. My accountant, Mrs. Chen, managed my finances. My literary agent, Thomas, was based in New York and never visited. We communicated via encrypted email and burner phones. Yes, I was that paranoid. But it worked. When checks arrived, massive royalty checks, they went directly to my accountant. She deposited them in accounts held under my pen name, legally established, completely separate from Marilyn Harper's modest checking account. I had two financial lives. Marilyn the widow had $37,000 in savings, enough to seem normal, but not wealthy. A.M. Gray had $12 million in various accounts and investments. But here's the thing about keeping secrets. You have to be consistent. Always. One slip could unravel everything. I remember once, about 10 years ago, Ava came to visit. She was complaining about money, as usual, and I was half listening while mentally plotting my next novel. "Mom, are you even listening?" she snapped. "Of course, dear." "Then what did I just say?" I had no idea. I'd been thinking about how to kill off a character in Chapter 12. "You said you need money for something?" Unbelievable. You're so checked out. What do you even do all day? "I read, I write, I keep busy." "Writing what? Your boring journal?" "Something like that." She rolled her eyes. "You should get a hobby, something productive. Maybe volunteer somewhere. You're wasting your life." Wasting my life. Well, I was in the middle of writing a book that would debut at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. The irony was delicious, but also painful. My own stepdaughter thought I was worthless. And that's when I knew the anonymity was protecting me from judgment, from people who'd treat me differently if they knew, from people who'd only value me for my money, like Ava. Over the years, I watched her carefully, observed how she treated me versus how she treated wealthy people. When we'd run into someone successful at the grocery store, a local business owner, a doctor, she'd light up, flatter them, make conversation. Then she'd turn to me and her face would go flat, dismissive, like I wasn't worth the effort. "Come on, Mom, we need to go. Stop chatting with people." She was ashamed of me, of my old car, my thrift store clothes, my small house. She never introduced me to her friends, never invited me to events, never wanted to be associated with struggling widow Marilyn. And I let her, because I was learning exactly who she was when she thought no one important was watching. Jake was worse. He barely tolerated me, would check his watch during our rare visits, make it clear he had better things to do than sit with his elderly mother-in-law. "Ava, we should go," he'd say within 15 minutes of arriving. "We've got that thing." They always had that thing, some excuse to leave, to get away from boring, poor Marilyn. But they always had time to ask for money before they left. "Mom, before we go, could you help us out? Just a few hundred? The kids need—" I'd write a check, small amount, from Marilyn's modest account, watch them take it without genuine thanks. And I'd think, you have no idea that I could write you a check for $100,000 without blinking, that I could pay off your mortgage, buy you a new car, fund your kids' entire education. But I won't, because you don't see me as a person, just as a resource to extract value from. That's what money does. It makes people see dollar signs instead of humanity. By keeping my wealth secret, I got to see people's true nature, got to know who valued me for me, who was kind without expecting anything in return. My friends at the library, back when I worked there, were genuine. They invited me to potlucks, helped me move furniture, called to check on me. They thought I was just like them, working class, getting by, and they treated me with respect and kindness. That's the world I wanted to live in, not the world where people judged me by my bank account. So I maintained the charade for 28 years. Through 12 best-selling books, through movie deals and foreign translations and millions in royalties. And nobody knew. Until Ava and Jake got greedy. Until they tried to take my house. Until they forced my hand. That's when I decided, enough. Time to reveal the truth. Time to show them what they'd been blind to all these years. Time to watch their faces when they realized they'd been dismissing a multi-millionaire celebrity author. That moment, that beautiful, satisfying moment, was worth every year of secrecy. The silence in my living room was deafening after Mr. Lewis's announcement. Ava was staring at the books I'd pulled from my shelf, all 12 a.m. Gray novels, her face cycling through emotions, shock, disbelief, confusion, anger. Jake had gone completely pale, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Their lawyer was frantically scrolling through his phone, probably Googling A.M. Gray net worth. "That's impossible," Ava finally said. You can't be. A.M. Gray is famous. A.M. Gray is—" "Wealthy?" I finished. "Yes, very. A.M. Gray, which is to say, I, have made approximately $47 million over the past 28 years. After taxes, agent fees, and expenses, my current net worth is approximately $12 million. But you live in this, she gestured around my small house, this house that I own outright, that I've maintained beautifully, that I chose to keep because I like it. You drive a 15-year-old car that runs perfectly well. Why would I buy a new one? You shop at thrift stores, where I find excellent deals on quality clothing. I'm wealthy, Ava, not wasteful." Jake found his voice. "This is insane. If you have that much money, why didn't you help us more? We've been struggling." "Struggling?" Mr. Lewis interrupted. "According to your own financial disclosures from this morning, you have a household income of $180,000 per year. You live in a $450,000 home. You drive 2 new cars. Your children attend private school. That's not struggling. That's living beyond your means. But we have expenses that you created," I said calmly. "You chose the expensive house, the new cars, the private schools. And you chose to constantly ask me for money, assuming I was a struggling widow giving you my last pennies." Ava's face was red now, angry. "You let us think you were poor. You lied to us." "I never lied. I simply didn't tell you how much money I made. You assumed, because you never asked, never cared enough to ask what I did with my days, what I was working on, who I really was. Because you're just Mom. You were just a library assistant who built a multi-million-dollar career while you weren't paying attention, while you were too busy judging my clothes and my car and my lifestyle to see what was right in front of you." Their lawyer cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should reschedule this meeting, give everyone time to process." "No need," Mr. Lewis said. "The meeting is over. Mrs. Harper will not be signing any property transfer documents, ever. In fact, we have some documents for you." He pulled papers from his briefcase, handed them to Ava and Jake. "These are official notices that Mrs. Harper is revoking all previous estate planning documents that named you as beneficiaries. She is also revoking the small monthly stipend she's been providing. Yes, those $500 monthly gifts were actually from a trust she set up. And she is requesting that you cease all contact except through legal channels. You're cutting us off? Ava's voice was shrill. Your own daughter? Stepdaughter, I corrected. And yes, you've made it abundantly clear over the years that you only value me for what you can get from me. Well, you won't get anything. Not my house, not my money, not my time. This is because we wanted to help with estate planning? This is because you tried to steal my house. Let's be honest about what those documents were. You weren't trying to help me. You were trying to take ownership of my property while I'm still alive. That's not estate planning. That's theft. Jake stood up. You can't do this. We're family. Family treats each other with respect. Family doesn't dismiss each other as worthless. Family doesn't try to steal from each other. I stood too, walked to my front door, opened it. Please leave, all of you. Mom, it's Mrs. Harper, or Ms. Gray if you prefer, but you've lost the right to call me Mom. Ava started crying. I'm sorry, we're sorry, we didn't mean… Yes, you did. You meant every dismissive comment, every eye roll, every moment you treated me like I was stupid and useless. You meant all of it. And now you're sorry because you found out I have money, not because you actually value me. That's not true, isn't it? If Mr. Lewis hadn't revealed my identity today, you'd have pressured me into signing those papers. You'd have taken my house. You'd have controlled my life. And you'd have felt completely justified because you genuinely believed I was too incompetent to manage my own affairs. She couldn't argue because I was right. Get out, I said quietly, and don't come back. They left, their lawyer first, practically running. Then Jake, looking shell-shocked. Finally, Ava, crying and trying to say something, anything that would fix this. But there was nothing to say. No words that could undo 30 years of dismissal and contempt. I closed the door, locked it, turned to Mr. Lewis. How do you feel, he asked. Free. For the first time in years, I feel completely free. They'll try to contact you, apologize, beg for forgiveness. I know. That's why you're going to handle all communication from now on. Send them a formal letter. Make it clear. No contact, no visits, no phone calls, nothing. And your will? Leave everything to literacy charities, the same ones I've been supporting anonymously for years. Let my money actually help people instead of funding Ava and Jake's lifestyle. Done. Anything else? I looked at my small house, my worn furniture, my simple life that had hidden such enormous success. Yes, I think it's time to stop hiding. Time to stop being invisible. Time to let the world know who A.M. Gray really is. You want to go public? I want to go public, on my terms, in my time. But yes, I'm done with anonymity. This will change everything. Good. Everything needs to change. After Mr. Lewis left, I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, started writing an email to my publisher. Dear Thomas, after 28 years of anonymity, I'm ready to reveal my identity as A.M. Gray. Let's schedule a press conference. It's time the world knew the truth. Best, Marilyn Harper. I hit send. Then I opened a new document, started writing. Not a novel this time, a memoir. The story of how a struggling widow became a best-selling author in secret. How she tested everyone around her. How her own family failed that test. This story needed to be told, and I was going to tell it. On my terms, in my words, as both Marilyn Harper and A.M. Gray. The whole truth. Finally. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I stood backstage at a Manhattan hotel ballroom, waiting to reveal myself to the world. My publisher had arranged everything. Major media outlets, book bloggers, entertainment reporters. Even some celebrities who were fans of A.M. Gray. Are you nervous? Thomas asked. He'd flown in from New York to support me. Terrified, but ready. You don't have to do this. We can still maintain your anonymity. No, I'm done hiding, done pretending, done being invisible. The moderator was introducing me, talking about A.M. Gray's incredible career, 12 bestsellers, movie adaptations, millions of fans worldwide. And now, for the first time ever, we're going to meet the person behind the name. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome A.M. Gray. I walked onto the stage. The crowd gasped, literally gasped, because I wasn't what they expected. They'd imagined A.M. Gray as, well, not a 65-year-old woman in a modest dress from Macy's, not someone who looked like their grandmother. I sat down, looked at the hundreds of faces staring at me. "Hello," I said. "My name is Marilyn Harper, and for 28 years, I've been A.M. Gray." The room erupted, questions shouting over each other, cameras flashing, phones recording. The moderator restored order. "Ms. Harper, may I call you that?" "Please do." "Why did you keep your identity secret for so long?" "Because I wanted to be valued for my work, not my appearance, not my age, not my gender, just my words. And because I wanted privacy, wanted to live a normal life without the pressures of celebrity. But you've decided to reveal yourself now. Why?" I took a breath. "Because I realized that hiding was giving power to the people who dismissed me. My own family thought I was worthless because I didn't fit their definition of success. They saw my simple lifestyle and assumed I was struggling. They never looked deeper, never asked questions, never valued me." "Can you elaborate on that?" "My stepdaughter and her husband recently tried to coerce me into signing over my house. They genuinely believed I was too incompetent to manage my own affairs, too poor to maintain my home. They saw an elderly widow who needed help, meaning they wanted control." The room was silent now, everyone listening. When I revealed my true identity, my success, my wealth, their attitude changed instantly. Suddenly, I wasn't worthless. I was valuable, but only because I had money, not because I was a person deserving of respect regardless of my bank account. That must have been painful. It was clarifying. It showed me that anonymity, while protecting my privacy, was also allowing people to show their true nature, and my family failed that test. A reporter raised their hand. "Are you still in contact with your stepdaughter?" "No, and I won't be. She's made it clear over 30 years that she only values wealth and status. I'm no longer interested in relationships built on those foundations." Some people online are calling this cruel, saying families should forgive. Forgiveness requires genuine remorse, acknowledgement of harm, effort to change. I saw none of that. I saw people who were sorry they'd been caught, sorry they'd miscalculated, not sorry for how they'd treated me. Another reporter: "What's next for you?" "I'm writing a memoir, the true story of how I built this career in secret, how I maintained two identities, how I tested everyone around me. It'll be published next year." "Will you name your stepdaughter?" "No. This isn't about revenge. It's about telling the truth, about encouraging other people, especially older people, especially women, to value themselves regardless of how others see them." The questions continued for an hour about my books, my process, my life, my choices. Finally, someone asked, "Do you regret keeping your identity secret?" I thought about that, really thought about it. No. Those 28 years taught me everything I needed to know about human nature, about judgment, about value, about what really matters. I wouldn't trade that education for anything. Even though it cost you your family, they cost themselves. I just stopped enabling their illusions. After the press conference, I was swarmed. Fans wanting autographs, reporters wanting interviews, publishers wanting deals. It was overwhelming, exhausting. Everything I'd avoided for nearly 3 decades, but also exhilarating, validating, real. I was no longer hiding, no longer invisible, no longer dismissible. I was Marilyn Harper, A.M. Gray, best-selling author, multimillionaire, survivor, and I was finally, completely myself. That night, alone in my hotel room, I checked my phone. Dozens of missed calls, all from Ava. Voicemails. "Mom, I saw the press conference. We need to talk." "Mom, please call me back. This is insane." "Mom, people are asking me about you. What am I supposed to say?" "Mom, you're making us look terrible. Please stop." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I was wrong." Just concern about how this made her look. I deleted them all, blocked her number, blocked Jake's number. Then I called Mr. Lewis. "Make sure the cease and contact order is airtight. I don't want to hear from them. Ever." "Consider it done. How do you feel?" Like I just stepped out of a cage I didn't even know I was in. "Good. That's exactly how you should feel." I hung up, opened my laptop, started writing the memoir. Chapter 1. The day I became invisible was the day my husband died. The day I became visible again was the day I chose to reveal the truth. The words flowed. Easy, natural, true. This was my story, finally being told, on my terms. And it felt perfect. The morning after the press conference, I woke up famous. Not A.M. Gray famous. That had been abstract, faceless. This was Marilyn Harper famous. My face on every entertainment website. My story trending on social media. My life suddenly public property. Elderly widow was secret millionaire author for 28 years. A.M. Gray unmasked. 65-year-old woman fooled everyone. Bestselling author cut off greedy family. Here's why. I sat in my hotel room, scrolling through articles, trying to process. Some coverage was positive. Inspiring. She proved age is just a number. Some was critical. Attention-seeking behavior. Why reveal yourself now? And some was invasive. Reporters had already found my house, my neighbors, my old coworkers from the library. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Thomas, my agent, called. "Marilyn, we need to talk about managing this. You need a PR team, a security detail, a social media manager." I need none of that. I just need peace. You went public. Peace is no longer an option. He was right. I'd opened Pandora's box. No closing it now. The weirdest part? Suddenly, everyone wanted to be my friend. People I hadn't heard from in years were calling. Old library coworkers, distant cousins, my mailman. "Marilyn, I always knew you were special." Did you? Because you never mentioned it. Even strangers were reaching out. Fan mail flooded my publisher's office. Thousands of letters, people wanting autographs, wanting to meet me, wanting to tell me their stories. Some were touching. Single mothers who'd read my books while working 3 jobs. Elderly people who felt invisible and found hope in my story. Writers who'd been told they were too old to start. But some were concerning. People wanting money. People claiming to be long-lost relatives. People with investment opportunities. Mr. Lewis had to screen everything. "You're a target now," he warned. "People see dollar signs." 3 days after the press conference, Ava showed up at my hotel. Security called my room. "Ms. Harper, there's a woman in the lobby claiming to be your daughter. Says it's urgent." "Tell her I'm not available." "She's refusing to leave. Says she'll wait as long as it takes." I sighed. "I'll come down." Ava was in the lobby, looking disheveled, desperate. Nothing like the put-together woman who'd tried to steal my house 2 weeks ago. "Mom, thank God. I've been trying to reach you." "Don't call me that. We're not family anymore." "Please, just 5 minutes. That's all I ask." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We sat in a quiet corner of the lobby. "I'm sorry," she started. "I'm so sorry. For everything. For treating you badly, for the house thing, for not seeing who you really were." "Are you sorry for what you did, or sorry everyone knows what you did?" She flinched. "Both. I'm sorry for both." "At least you're honest." "I've been getting calls. Reporters, people from high school, my boss. Everyone knows I'm your stepdaughter. Everyone knows what happened. My kids are being bullied at school. Jake is furious with me. Everything is falling apart. And you want me to fix it. I want you to tell people it's not as bad as it sounds, that we weren't really trying to steal from you, that it was a misunderstanding." "No." "What?" "I'm not going to lie for you. It was exactly as bad as it sounds. You tried to manipulate an elderly widow into signing over her house. That's what happened. I won't pretty it up." But people think I'm a monster. Then prove them wrong. Change. Become better. Apologize genuinely and live differently. But don't ask me to fix your reputation. You destroyed it yourself. I'm your daughter. You're my late husband's daughter, and you've made it clear for 30 years that you don't consider me family. So fine, we're not family. We're just two people who used to know each other. She started crying. I was awful to you. I know I was. But I didn't know you were rich? Famous? Does that change anything? If I really were a struggling widow, would your behavior have been acceptable? No, of course not. Then why does my wealth matter? You should have treated me with respect regardless. That's the point. I understand now. I do. Can't we start over? Can't I have another chance? I looked at her, really looked at her, saw genuine distress, but also saw what was missing. Genuine understanding of what she'd done wrong. She was sorry for consequences, not for actions. No, I said simply, you can't. Because you haven't actually changed. You're just scared. When the media dies down, when your life stabilizes, you'll go back to being exactly who you were. And I'm not interested in waiting around to find out I'm right. You don't know that. I know that you still haven't said you were wrong to dismiss me. You haven't acknowledged treating me poorly for decades. You've only said you're sorry for everything, which means nothing. Until you can specifically articulate what you did and why it was wrong, you haven't learned anything. I stood up. I need to go. Please don't contact me again. Mom, Marilyn, or Ms. Harper, choose one. I walked away, went back to my room and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just a mild relief that it was over. That evening, I did my first television interview, late-night talk show, major network. The host was charming. So, Marilyn, can I call you Marilyn? Please do. You've become an overnight sensation. How does it feel? Exhausting. I spent 28 years avoiding attention. Turns out, I was right. Attention is terrible. The audience laughed. But you chose to reveal yourself. Why? Because hiding was protecting people who didn't deserve protection. It let them think I was insignificant, let them treat me accordingly. And I'm done with that. Your stepdaughter has made some statements. I'm sure she has. I won't be responding to them. My lawyer handles all communication with her now. That seems harsh to some people. Does it? If a stranger tried to steal your house, would you maintain a relationship with them? Why should family get a pass for behavior we'd never tolerate from anyone else? The audience applauded. The host looked impressed. You're setting boundaries. I'm protecting myself, which I should have done years ago. After the interview, I felt lighter, like I'd said everything I needed to say, like the story was complete. Now I just needed to write it down. Publishers were in a bidding war for my memoir. 7 major houses wanted it. The numbers being thrown around were insane. $3 million advance, Thomas said on the phone, and that's just the opening offer. That's obscene. That's the market. Your story is huge. Everyone wants to read it. What if I don't want to write it? Silence. Marilyn, 3 days ago you told me you were writing a memoir. I know, but now that it's real, now that people actually want it, I don't know, it feels like exploitation, like I'm profiting from family drama. You're profiting from your own story. There's nothing wrong with that. Isn't there? Ava is being harassed. Her kids are suffering. Is my need to tell this story worth that? Her kids are suffering because of her actions, not yours. You told the truth. That's not exploitation. That's honesty. I thought about that. Was I being cruel or just honest? Let me think about it. But the media wouldn't let me think. Every day brought new stories, new angles, new invasions of privacy. Reporters found my old neighbors, interviewed them. Oh yes, Marilyn was so quiet. We had no idea she was rich. She accepted our charity dinners, our hand-me-down clothes. Was she laughing at us the whole time? No, I was grateful. I was genuine. But now my choices looked like deception. They found my former co-workers from the library. She worked here for 15 years, minimum wage. Why would a millionaire work for minimum wage? It's weird, almost dishonest. I wasn't a millionaire then, and I worked because I enjoyed it. But nuance doesn't sell papers. They even found people from Ava's life, her friends, her co-workers. Ava's mother is that author? The one Ava always complained about? Oh, wow. Ava used to say her stepmom was useless. Guess she was wrong. The narrative was spinning out of control, away from my truth, toward sensationalism. I called Thomas back. I'm writing the memoir, but on my terms. Complete creative control. No ghostwriter. No editor changing my words. My story, my way. Done. I'll negotiate those terms. I started writing in earnest. Not in my hotel room, too impersonal. I went home, back to my small house. It was under siege. Reporters camping outside, neighbors staring, cars driving by slowly, tourists hoping to catch a glimpse of me. I hired security, a company that installed cameras and assigned me a guard. His name was Marcus, former military, took no nonsense. Ms. Harper, you shouldn't be here. This location is compromised. This is my home. I'm not letting them chase me out of it. With respect, ma'am, your safety. I have you. I have cameras. I have Mr. Lewis on speed dial. I'll be fine. I settled back into my house, into my worn chair at my desk, into the space where I'd written 12 best-selling novels, and I wrote my 13th book. Not fiction this time, truth. The memoir poured out of me, raw, honest, painful, liberating. I wrote about Robert's death, about sudden widowhood at 37, about financial desperation. I wrote about my first book, the pseudonym, the decision to hide, the reasons why. I wrote about Ava, about 30 years of dismissal, about being treated as less than, about the slow accumulation of hurts. I wrote about the house incident, the confrontation, the revelation, the aftermath. And I wrote about what I'd learned, about value, about visibility, about the price of hiding and the cost of being seen. 3 months later, I had a manuscript, 287 pages, complete. I sent it to Thomas. Here, this is it. This is everything. He called me the next day. Marilyn, this is extraordinary, powerful, important. It's going to be huge. It's going to hurt people. Ava, Jake, their kids. You changed their names, protected their privacy. You told your story without destroying theirs. That's all you owe them. Is it enough? It's more than enough. Marilyn, you were the victim here. Stop protecting the people who hurt you. I'm not protecting them. I'm protecting myself. If I destroy them, I become the villain. I don't want to be the villain. You're not. You're the survivor. There's a difference. The book was scheduled for publication 6 months later. Pre-orders were through the roof. Film studios were already bidding on rights. Everyone wants this story, Thomas said. You're going to be even more famous than A.M. Gray. I don't want to be famous. I just want to tell the truth. Sometimes they're the same thing. Meanwhile, Ava had gone silent. No more calls, no more appearances. Her social media went dark. I heard through the grapevine, through Google alerts, that she and Jake had separated, that she'd moved in with her sister, that she was dealing with personal issues. Part of me felt guilty. Had I destroyed her marriage, her life? But Mr. Lewis was firm. You didn't destroy anything. You revealed what was already broken. She destroyed her own life with her choices. You just stopped enabling the illusion. Still feels awful. Truth often doesn't make it wrong. 2 weeks before the book launch, I got a letter, handwritten, from Ava. Against Mr. Lewis's advice, I opened it. Dear Marilyn, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but I'm asking anyway. Please delay the book, or cancel it, or at least remove the parts about me. My life has fallen apart. Jake left me. The kids won't speak to me. I lost my job. I'm living with my sister and her family, sleeping on a couch, trying to figure out what comes next. I know I deserve this. I know I brought it on myself. But your book is going to make it so much worse. People will know who I am. They'll recognize the story even with the changed names. And I'll never be able to rebuild. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking for a relationship. I'm just asking for mercy. Please, Ava. I read it 3 times, felt the weight of her desperation, her genuine pain. And I called Thomas. We're publishing on schedule. No changes. You sure? She's asking me to hide the truth to protect her from the consequences of her actions. That's exactly what I've been doing for 30 years. I'm done. Okay, but Marilyn, this is going to get worse before it gets better. I know, but I didn't choose this. She did. And now we both have to live with it. The book published, debuted at #1, sold 500,000 copies in the first week. And everything changed. Again. My memoir, titled Invisible Ink, A Hidden Life, became a cultural phenomenon. Not just a bestseller, a movement, a conversation starter, a mirror held up to society. Women in their 60s and 70s were reading it and recognizing themselves, sharing stories of being dismissed, overlooked, treated as invisible. I'm a retired CEO, one woman wrote. My children treat me like I'm incompetent. Your book showed me I'm not alone. Book clubs were discussing it. Universities were teaching it. TED Talks were referencing it. But it also brought backlash, intense backlash. She's exploiting her family for profit. This is elder abuse in reverse. She's playing the victim while she's actually a millionaire. The criticism hurt more than I expected. I'd spent 28 years invisible, unknown. Now I was hyper-visible. Every choice analyzed, every word dissected. And people were finding Ava, despite the changed names, despite my efforts to protect her privacy. Someone on social media connected the dots. I went to high school with A.M. Gray's stepdaughter. Here's who she really is. And just like that, Ava was doxxed. Her real name, her photos, her address, everything. The harassment she'd received multiplied by 1,000. People sending her hate mail, showing up at her sister's house, calling her workplace. Oh wait, she'd lost her job. Part of me felt vindicated. She'd made her bed, now she was lying in it. But a bigger part felt sick. I hadn't wanted this, hadn't wanted her destroyed. I just wanted acknowledgement, understanding, respect. I called Mr. Lewis. We need to make a statement, condemn the harassment, protect Ava's privacy. Marilyn, if you defend her now, people will think you're weak, backing down. I don't care. This has gone too far. I told my story. I didn't ask for a mob. We released a statement. While I stand by every word in my book, I condemn the harassment of my stepdaughter and her family. Telling my truth doesn't give anyone permission to attack them. Please respect their privacy and leave them alone. It helped. Slightly. The worst of the harassment died down. But the damage was done. Ava's name was out there. Her face was known. She couldn't hide anymore. 3 months after the book's release, Ava requested a meeting, through Mr. Lewis, formally, with lawyers present. She wants to talk, Mr. Lewis said. Are you willing? What does she want? She wouldn't say, just that it's important, that it needs to be face to face. I agreed, because despite everything, I needed to know, was this genuine or another manipulation? We met in Mr. Lewis's conference room, neutral territory. Ava brought her lawyer. I had Mr. Lewis. Ava looked terrible, thin, gray, aged 10 years in 6 months. Thank you for seeing me, she said, voice quiet, subdued. What do you want, Ava? I want to apologize, really apologize. Not because I want something from you, but because I need to say it, even if you never forgive me. I'm listening. I was awful to you. For 30 years, I treated you like you were worthless, like you didn't matter, like your only value was what you could give me. Yes, you did. I did it because I resented you. You weren't my real mom. You married my dad. I was 15 and angry, and I never let go of that anger. I made you the villain in my story, and I never questioned whether that was fair. It wasn't fair, but it's not uncommon. Lots of stepchildren struggle. That's not the unforgivable part. What is? The unforgivable part is that I was kind to you. For 30 years, I was patient and giving and tried to build a relationship, and you took advantage of that. You took my kindness for weakness, my humility for poverty, my quiet life for failure. I know. And when you thought I had nothing, you tried to take even that. The house, my home. You tried to steal it. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry. Why should I believe you? You've apologized before, after the revelation, at my hotel. It didn't mean anything. Because I've lost everything. My marriage, my job, my reputation. My kids barely speak to me. I'm starting over from nothing at 52 years old. And I finally understand what that feels like. What you went through when my dad died. Being alone. Being judged. Being dismissed. So you're sorry because you're suffering now? Because karma caught up? I'm sorry because I finally understand what I did. Not just intellectually, but in my bones. I understand what it feels like to be treated as less than, to be invisible, to have people assume the worst about you. I studied her face, looking for the lie, the manipulation, but I saw only exhaustion, defeat, genuine understanding. I accept your apology, I said quietly, but I don't forgive you. What's the difference? Accepting your apology means I believe you're genuinely sorry. Forgiving you means I'm willing to rebuild our relationship. I'm not there. I may never be there. I understand. Do you? Because this isn't negotiable. I'm not giving you money. I'm not putting you in my will. I'm not fixing your life. You're on your own. I know. I'm not asking for any of that. I'm just asking for you to know. I understand now. I understand what I did, and I'm trying to be better. Good. Keep trying. For yourself, not for me. Will you ever? She couldn't finish the question. Will I ever want a relationship with you? I don't know. Maybe. If you prove over years, not months, years, that you've actually changed, that you value people for who they are, not what they have, maybe then. Years is a long time. You had 30 years to treat me well. You didn't. Why should I give you less time to prove you've changed? She nodded, stood up. Thank you for hearing me out. That's more than I deserved. Yes, it is. She left. I sat in the conference room, feeling complicated. How do you feel? Mr. Lewis asked. I feel like I just had a real conversation with her, for the first time ever, and I don't know what to do with that. You don't have to do anything. You set your boundary. Now you see if she respects it. And if she does, then maybe, someday, there's a path forward. But that's future Marilyn's problem. Present Marilyn just needs to keep living her life. He was right. I couldn't fix Ava, couldn't force her to change, could only control myself. And I chose to keep moving forward, keep writing, keep living, keep being visible on my own terms. The rest would work itself out. Or it wouldn't. Either way, I'd be fine. 1 year after my memoir published, my life had settled into a new normal. I'd sold my small house, too much media attention, too many tourists, and bought a cabin in upstate New York, secluded, private, peaceful. I still wrote, every day, but now as Marilyn Harper, not A.M. Gray. My name, my face, my identity. My 14th book, my second memoir focusing on the writing process, was due out in 3 months. Pre-orders were strong. I'd done speaking tours, university visits, literacy fundraisers, used my platform to advocate for older women, for visibility, for respect. And I'd started a foundation, the Invisible Ink Foundation, providing grants to women over 50 who wanted to start creative careers or businesses. "You're never too old to start over," was our motto. I'd proved it. Now I wanted to help others prove it too. The foundation was funding 20 women this year, giving them each $50,000 to pursue their dreams: writing, art, business, whatever they needed. One recipient was a 72-year-old woman starting a bakery. Another was a 60-year-old learning to paint. Another was a 55-year-old going back to school. Their stories reminded me why I'd revealed myself, why I'd told my truth, to show that life doesn't end at 50, or 60, or 70. Ava and I hadn't spoken since the meeting in Mr. Lewis's office, but I'd heard things, through mutual acquaintances, through her lawyer. She'd gotten a job, receptionist at a small company, modest pay, humble position. She'd reconciled with one of her kids, the younger one, still working on the older one. She was living alone now, small apartment, simple life, working on herself apparently, therapy, volunteer work, trying to be better. I didn't reach out, didn't want to disrupt whatever growth she was doing, but I was aware, observing from a distance. Then, on the anniversary of my memoir's publication, a package arrived at my cabin, hand-delivered, from Ava. Mr. Lewis had screened it, checked it for safety, given me the option to refuse it. "What is it?" I asked. "A book, apparently, with a note. Should I open it?" "Let me see the note first." He handed me an envelope. I opened it, read the handwritten message. "Dear Marilyn, 1 year ago today, your book changed my life. Not in the way I wanted, but in the way I needed. I've spent this year working on myself, becoming someone I can be proud of, someone who values people for who they are. I wrote something. It's not good. I'm not a writer like you, but it's honest. It's my story, my reckoning with what I did. I'm not publishing it. It's just for you, to show you I understand, to show you I've done the work. You told me years would prove whether I'd changed. It's only been 1 year. I know that's not enough, but maybe it's a start. I'm not asking for anything. Not forgiveness, not a relationship, not money. Just for you to know I'm trying. With respect, Ava." I opened the package. Inside was a bound manuscript. The Invisible Woman, How I Failed to See What Mattered. I started reading. It was rough, unpolished, but honest, painfully honest. Ava had written about her childhood, her resentment toward me, her father's death, her choices over 30 years. She'd written about the house incident, the revelation, the aftermath, the public shaming, and she'd written about the past year, the losses, the lessons, the slow, painful growth. It wasn't excuses, it was accountability, real accountability. I read the whole thing in one sitting, 3 hours, cover to cover. When I finished, I sat with it, processed it, felt it. Then I called Mr. Lewis. "Can you get me Ava's phone number?" "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." He sent it. I stared at the number for 10 minutes, debating, wavering. Finally, I called. She answered on the first ring. "Hello?" "It's Marilyn." Silence. Then, "Hi, I didn't think you'd call. I read your book." "Oh God, I'm so embarrassed. It's terrible writing." "It's honest writing. That's better." "Did you hate it?" "No, I saw you in it. Really saw you. Maybe for the first time. That's all I wanted, for you to see that I understand, that I've changed, or at least that I'm trying to change. 1 year isn't enough, Ava. I know. But it's a start, a good start. Does that mean? It means I'm willing to try, slowly, carefully, with clear boundaries, but I'm willing to try." She started crying. "Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. This doesn't mean we're family again. This just means we're acquaintances who used to be family and might someday be something again. I'll take it, whatever you're willing to give. We'll start small, coffee, once a month. We'll talk, see how it goes. I'd like that. And Ava, if you slip back into old patterns, if you start treating me poorly again, I'm done. No second chances this time. I understand. I won't. I promise I won't. We hung up. I sat at my desk, looking out at the woods surrounding my cabin. Had I made the right choice? I didn't know. Maybe I was setting myself up for more pain. But I'd learned something over the past year about forgiveness, about growth, about second chances. People can change. Not easily, not quickly, but genuinely. And if Ava was doing the work, really doing the work, maybe she deserved a chance to prove it. Time would tell. I had plenty of time. For the first time in my life, I wasn't in a hurry, wasn't hiding, wasn't running from anything. I was just living, openly, honestly, as myself. Marilyn Harper, A.M. Gray, author, advocate, survivor, and maybe, someday, stepmother again. But that was future Marilyn's decision. Present Marilyn had a book to write. We met for coffee once a month for 6 months, always in public, always brief, always carefully boundaried. The first meeting was awkward. Ava was nervous, I was guarded. We talked about weather and books and nothing important. The second meeting was slightly better. We talked about her job, her apartment, her therapy, surface stuff, safe stuff. By the third meeting, we started going deeper. She asked about my writing. I asked about her kids. We edged toward real conversation. The fourth meeting, she apologized again, differently this time. I'm sorry I didn't see you, really see you. For 30 years, you were just Dad's wife to me, never Marilyn, never a person with your own dreams and life. I'm sorry. Thank you. That means something. The fifth meeting, I told her about the foundation, about helping other women over 50 start over. That's beautiful, she said. It's like you're taking your pain and turning it into purpose. That's exactly what it is. Can I volunteer for the foundation? I know I'm not qualified for much, but I could do administrative work, filing, whatever you need. I thought about it. Was this genuine? Or was she trying to get close to my money again? But her eyes were sincere, her offer humble. Let me think about it. I talked to Mr. Lewis. What do you think? I think it's risky, but I also think people deserve chances to prove themselves. That's not helpful, because there's no right answer. You have to go with your gut. My gut said, trust, but verify. I hired Ava, part-time, minimum wage, administrative assistant for the foundation. You'll answer phones, file paperwork, schedule meetings, nothing financial, nothing decision-making, just basic work. That's perfect, thank you. And Ava, this is a professional relationship. I'm your boss, not your stepmother. Understand? I understand. She showed up on time, every day, did the work without complaint, was polite to everyone, professional, humble. After 3 months, I promoted her, gave her more responsibility, better pay, access to minor decision-making. She handled it well, didn't overstep, didn't try to leverage our relationship, just did good work. One day she asked to talk. Can we have coffee outside of work? What's this about? My kids. I want them to meet you, really meet you. Not Dad's wife who we see at holidays, but Marilyn, the person, the author, the woman who built something incredible. Why? Because they need to understand what I did, what I threw away, and because they deserve to know their grandmother. Step-grandmother. Grandmother, if you'll let them call you that. I met her kids, Emma, 23, Tyler, 21, both cautious, both curious. You're the author, Emma said, the famous one. I'm an author. Fame is relative. Mom says she treated you terribly. She did. She says she's sorry, that she's trying to be better. She is. Does that mean you forgive her? I thought about that. Did I? I'm learning to, I said honestly. Forgiveness isn't instant. It's a process. Your mom hurt me, deeply, for a long time. But she's doing the work to change, and I'm trying to let her. Tyler spoke up. She's different now, since everything happened. She's softer, less angry, more present. I'm glad. Everyone deserves the chance to grow. Even when they've hurt people, especially then. If we don't allow people to change, they never will. After that meeting, things shifted. Slowly, carefully, but genuinely. Ava and I started having dinner occasionally. Not just coffee, actual meals, with conversation, with laughter even. She told me about her therapy, about unpacking 30 years of resentment and regret. My therapist says I made you the villain because it was easier than dealing with my grief about my dad. Easier to blame you than to miss him. That makes sense, but it wasn't fair. You didn't deserve that. No, I didn't, but I understand it. Grief makes people irrational. I was irrational for 3 decades. That's more than grief. True, but you're dealing with it now. That's what matters. 1 year after I'd hired her, Ava asked if she could bring something up. The house incident, when Jake and I tried to take your property. I need you to know I've paid him back. Every cent you gave us over the years. I tracked it all, calculated interest, paid him back in full. Why? Because that money was given under false pretenses. You thought you were helping a struggling family, but we weren't struggling. We were living beyond our means and expecting you to bail us out. That was theft, so I paid it back. You didn't have to do that. I did, for me, to prove to myself that I've changed, that I value integrity over money. How much was it? $63,000, including interest. That's a lot of money. Where did you get it? I sold my engagement ring, my wedding ring, some jewelry, took out a loan for the rest. I'm paying it off monthly. It'll take 3 years. I didn't know what to say. The gesture was enormous, genuine. Thank you, I finally managed. That means more than you know. I'm not asking you to put me back in your will or to give me anything. I just needed you to know I'm not that person anymore, the one who saw you as a resource. I'm someone else now. I can see that. I really can. 2 months later, I revised my will, left the foundation the bulk of my estate, but added Ava back in, a modest amount, enough to show I valued her, not enough to change her life. If you continue to demonstrate growth and integrity, the will stated, this amount may be increased at executor's discretion. I didn't tell her, didn't want her to know. This wasn't about the money. It was about acknowledging that people can change, that forgiveness is possible, that family, even complicated, broken family, is worth fighting for. If she kept being this version of herself, if she continued to value people over things, if she kept doing the work, then maybe, eventually, we could be family again. Real family, built on mutual respect instead of obligation. That was worth more than any inheritance. 5 years after my memoir published, I was 70 years old, and I'd never been happier. My foundation was thriving. We'd helped over 200 women start second careers. Their success stories filled my days with purpose. My books, 15 novels, 2 memoirs, continued to sell. A.M. Gray was still popular. Marilyn Harper had become beloved. And Ava? Ava had become my right hand at the foundation, running operations, managing grants, doing incredible work. She'd earned it, through years of consistent effort, through proving she'd genuinely changed. We weren't close the way some families were, didn't talk every day, didn't share everything, but we were something good, something honest. Then I got sick, cancer, aggressive, stage 4. The doctors gave me 6 months, maybe a year with treatment. I chose treatment, not because I was afraid of dying, but because I had work to finish, people to help, things to say. Ava was there through all of it. Every chemo session, every hospital stay, every bad day. You don't have to do this, I told her. I have nurses. I want to be here. Please let me be here. Why? To make yourself feel better? To earn back your inheritance? Because you're my mother, not stepmother, mother. The only one I've ever really had, and I want to be here. That hit me hard, in all the good ways. Okay, you can stay. During those long hours in hospital rooms, we talked. really talked, about everything we'd never discussed. "Why did you keep your identity secret for so long?" she asked one day. "Because I wanted to see who people really were, without money influencing how they treated me." "And what did you learn?" "That most people are kind when they think you have nothing. That wealth reveals character, both good and bad. That invisibility has power." "Do you regret it, staying hidden so long?" "No. Those 28 years taught me everything I needed to know about human nature, including my own." "What about me? Do you regret how you handled me?" "Sometimes. I wonder if I should have revealed myself earlier, if it would have changed things between us." "It wouldn't have. I had to hit bottom, had to lose everything. That's what changed me, not your success, my failure." Maybe that's true. Another day she asked, "Do you forgive me? Really, truly forgive me?" "Yes, I do. You've proven over 5 years that you've changed. That's enough." "What changed your mind?" "You stopped asking for forgiveness, stopped trying to earn back what you'd lost, started just being a good person. That's when I knew it was real." "I'm sorry it took so long." "Better late than never." The cancer progressed faster than expected. 6 months became 4 months, became 2 months. I was in hospice, at peace, ready. But I had one last thing to do. I called Mr. Lewis. "Bring the updated will. I want to review it with Ava present." He came, brought the documents. Ava sat nervously beside my bed. "Ava, I'm leaving you something," I said. "Not the foundation, that goes to a board of directors. Not the bulk of my estate, that goes to charity. But something significant, something to change your life. You don't have to, I want to, because you've earned it. Not through being my stepdaughter, but through being a good person, through doing the work, through proving that people can change." Mr. Lewis handed her the documents. She read them, started crying. $2 million? Mom, that's too much. "It's not a gift, it's a trust. You'll get income from it, but only if you continue running the foundation. Only if you continue helping other women. Only if you keep being who you've become." "I will, I promise." "I know, that's why I'm leaving it to you." "What about Emma and Tyler?" "They're in the will too, educational trusts, enough to start their lives right. But the bulk goes to work, to purpose, to continuing what we've built." She held my hand. "Thank you for giving me a chance, for letting me earn back your trust, for forgiving me. Thank you for doing the work, for becoming someone I'm proud to call daughter." "Am I your daughter?" "You are. You've been my daughter for 5 years now, since you started showing up, since you started caring, since you became family." We sat in comfortable silence. No more words needed. I died 3 weeks later, peacefully, surrounded by people I loved, leaving behind a legacy I was proud of. The foundation continued. Ava ran it brilliantly, helped hundreds more women start over, kept my vision alive. My books kept selling, my story kept inspiring, my truth kept mattering. And Ava? Ava became the person I'd always hoped she could be, not because of money, but because of growth. She gave interviews about our journey, about how she'd failed, how she'd grown, how forgiveness was possible but had to be earned. "My mother taught me the most important lesson of my life," she said in one interview, "that it's never too late to change, never too late to become better, never too late to earn back what you've lost. But you have to do the work, really do the work. No shortcuts." That became her legacy, helping other people who'd made mistakes, showing them the path to redemption. And that became my legacy. Not the books, not the money, but the transformation, showing that invisible people matter, that elderly women have value, that secrets can protect, that truth can heal, that forgiveness is possible, that life doesn't end at 60 or 70 or any age, that you're never too old to start over, never too late to reveal your truth, never too invisible to matter. That's what I proved. That's what I left behind. And it was enough, more than enough. It was everything. If you're feeling invisible because of your age, your circumstances, your position in life, remember Marilyn's story. You are not what others see. You are not defined by their dismissal. You are not limited by their assumptions. You can build something extraordinary in secret. You can reveal yourself when you're ready. You can demand respect on your own terms. And you can forgive when forgiveness is earned. When people do the work. When change is real. Age is not an ending. It's a beginning. A chance to reinvent, to reveal, to reclaim. You are never too old to matter, never too late to start, never too invisible to make an impact. Live your truth, demand your respect, build your legacy. That's the power of visibility on your own terms.